Hi, everybody. We are live on Feral Sober, episode 8. I was just telling everybody that I have a special guest today. He is the author of a book that he wrote. It is a collection of inspirational stuff for people in recovery. I'm going to let him tell a little bit about it. I had a snag with the tech, and it took me a little bit longer than I intended to get it up and running. I can't get the link to send to him. Just give me 1 second. Okay. He's got the link now, so just give us 1 second and he'll join us. In the meantime, I can just tell a little bit about him. He, like I said, he's the author of a book. I've actually never read his book. I just met him this morning. I actually had a cancellation, so this is a little bit untraditional, unconventional of what I'm trying to do because I don't really have a lot to tell you guys, kind of waiting on him. And he should be coming in, like I said, any minute here. I just sent the link. So just bear with me, buddy. His book, though, he did actually send me a copy for free, so that was amazing. It is like a digital copy, but I read through it a little bit, and the stuff that I did read already that I didn't have much time, like I said, this episode was kind of thrown together last minute because my guest canceled on me. I really put a post on Facebook and said, hey, I need a guest, and commented back and said that he would do it. So he is here now. I'm going to let him just kind of told everybody a little bit about your book that I had met you this morning. I didn't really have a lot to say. I didn't really have what to say because I said we kind of on each other in the Facebook group or the Facebook post this morning. I'm going to go ahead and let you tell a little bit about your book, and then we'll take some questions and stuff.
Okay. Well, I relapsed in last year, and I got sent to a 6-month rehab. And I knew when day one, I got the big book and I started reading it, and I just had a flood of information just come overwhelming from the last 10 years because I first got sober in 2016. And I never wrote anything before, but I just started writing. And I started to go do a blog, and then a pastor told me, he goes, man, you have a book here, a devotional. So he helped me get it published, and here we are,
I was going to ask a little bit about like the publishing process. So how did that come to be? You said a pastor helped you because I was I don't know how publishing a book goes, but did you have to be like, okay, I was going to say, did you have to be like vetted, or did someone have to read your book and approve of it, or how did that work?
Well, it's through Amazon. So they check it for AI, and then they check it and make sure you didn't copyright infringements and all that stuff. And it was a lot easier than I thought because I did like a couple just to see if it was easy to do, and I really wasn't planning on them, actually going through with it. And I got an email one day saying, congratulations, your books are published. And I was like, oh crap, let me take them off. And so then because they're not really that good. It was just to see how it would go. And so then I got this one, of course, and this one I'm proud of.
It didn't show the cover. You didn't hold it up high enough there. If you want to hold it up so everybody can see it. There you go. I love that. I love the name that you went by too. I know you didn't publish under your true name or whatever. And I thought that was an interesting story if you wanted to tell why you did that.
Well, because I get really honest in this book, and I used to be a heroin addict for, I shot heroin for 10 years. I haven't had opiates since March of 2016, but so I talk about some really personal stuff, and so I have kids, and I didn't want to make the choice for them to be. I want them to tell their story and not me tell it for them. So if I put my name on it, I would have told it for them, but I put Dopeless Fiend on there as my author's name. It really was just a joke. It had me put my first name, middle name, and last name, and I just usually, when I introduce myself at meetings, I have to usually say like I'm an old dope fiend that don't get high no more, or I'm a dopeless dope fiend. And so I put in Dopeless Dope Fiend just as just to, and then when I went to go do the cover, it automatically put my author's name on there, and it said Dopeless Fiend, and I was like, I like that. So
Yeah,
I kept it.
that's cool. And I really like that. I think it's very bold too, and that sets a good tone for your book, because I did look through it. Like I was telling a little bit before you came on here that I did skim it. Like I didn't have a lot of time because we just met a few hours ago, but it does get very bold and very deep, and I love that. That's what I'm going for. I've actually not every guest I've had has met that tone, and I'm always glad to to get, because I think that's a lot of sobriety, and is to tell the, like you said, get honest and tell the truth, because we have to own the shit that we did. We can't sugarcoat it or hide from it, because how do we grow if we do?
Yeah, vulnerability invites vulnerabilities. The greatest thing we can offer this world isn't perfection; it's transparency. So when one person stands up and says, "This is what I've been through," it gives courage to others to whisper, "Me too."
Right. Absolutely. So did you want to read, I know you read on our phone call earlier, like the inscription and then a page, or do you have any of the book that you wanted to share, maybe your favorite section, just to kind of give people an idea?
Yeah, I wrote this one. It's called Nike Hoodie. It's back when 2016. I'll just read it. God sent a 19-year-old kid to save my life without either of us knowing it. Back in 2016, I was in a long-term treatment center, still running on pride and ego. My sponsor walked in the room and said, "Man, you got a lot of nice clothes. What's your favorite hoodie?" Without thinking, I pointed to a brand new Nike hoodie, tag still on it. He looked at me and asked, "Do you want to get sober?" I said, "Of course." He said, "Then donate it to the clothing closet." Now listen, I wasn't the given type. I wasn't capable of selfless acts. If he had told me who it was going to, I'd have made a show out of it. I'd want to be praised. I would have made sure everyone knew I gave it up just so I could remind them later, and maybe use it to get something back. That's who I was. That's how I operated. But he didn't tell me. He just told me to let it go. After some colorful language and a bruised ego, I did. Weeks later, this 19-year-old kid shows up to group wearing my hoodie. He always sat near me and my boys, and I swore he was doing it to flex. I thought, this dude knows it's mine, and he's rubbing it in my face. So naturally, I told my friends not to talk to him, because back then, Josh was the center of the damn universe, self-seeking, prideful, always watching how things could benefit me. But after a while, the kid wore me down with his silence. And one day I said, "Hey, man, you can speak to us, He looked at me and said, "I'm just shy, but I really want what y'all got." That hit me like a bullet to the chest. I said, "Nice hoodie." He said, "Thanks, man. Can you believe it came from the clothing closet? Still had the tag on it. I'd never owned a Nike hoodie before. I grew up in foster care. All I ever wore was hand-me-downs." I damn near broke. I went to the bathroom and cried like a baby. That moment wrecked me, because God and my sponsor had set the whole thing up. Not to embarrass me, not to punish me, but to teach me what real giving looks like. That kid didn't know my story. He didn't know the hoodie used to be mine. He didn't know God was using him as a mirror to show me who I was and who I still had the chance to become. He got a new hoodie. I got a new heart. He got something he never had, and I lost something I never needed. And in that loss, I gained everything. Scripture is, if you give what you have to the poor, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Your Father who sees it, what is done in secret will reward you. Matthew 6, 3, 4.
That got me. I didn't read that one. I didn't want to read too many of them because I was afraid, I wanted it to be raw like this. Gosh, whew. It's crazy how in our minds like that, they're like, you believed that he knew that was your hoodie and he was messing you. Like, you really thought that he did. And my husband's crying. I want you to know he heard the story from the other room and walked in here and he like, phew, that was powerful. Yeah, that's amazing. Phew, thank you for sharing that. And it's great that you shared that with the world, like anybody. That I just wanted to say too, your book can be found on Amazon. That's correct. There's a link. I'll share it when I publish this episode. It'll be in the description, guys. Anybody who wanted to purchase his book, check it out. It's got some powerful stuff in it.
Yeah.
That's
before when I first got sober, I would leave those stories to myself, you know what I'm saying? Like I always say, God was the biggest opinion in my life. And then my relapse gave me God is the biggest fact in my life. And he made me not, I don't know, I just don't care. I just tell everything now. Some things I would tell, but you know what I mean? Like, we're men, we're not supposed to show weakness or anything like that. Even in recovery, we're like, oh, blah, blah, blah.
Tough, gotta be tough.
Yeah, when wisdom walks in the door, when we surrender, pride don't let wisdom come. Don't let it live here. If I let it.
Right, absolutely. That's amazing. So, you said your book, you really didn't plan to write it. You just kind of sat down and wrote your testimony, I guess, stories from your experience and put it together. That's crazy that you didn't plan. It's funny how stuff works out. Like when we're when we're doing the right thing in our life and stuff works out for us when we don't even try. Like,
yeah. Cause I can't write unless I have passion about it. I really can't write good. I have to really care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got asked to do, another podcast in Canadian, and they betted me pretty big, and they want me to like write this bio and stuff, and I just like, oh my God, I can't write about,
Yeah.
I was like, I got a friend, I was like, you're gonna do this bio thing for me, dude. But
I'm an author and I can't write. That's funny.
I mean, unless it's like I'm passionate about it, and then like I'm good, But if I'm not really caring about it, I can't. I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you,
Well, and it's different too. Like writing about things that happen to you, like that's a little different because you're just like you're writing what happened. You do kind of have to, like you made that sound really good, but overall it was just a story, and so that's a little bit different than writing, just writing like out of your head, coming up with stuff.
Yeah, I wrote that like 25 times before I got to that version of it.
Right. Yeah. And, I imagine you have hundreds of rough drafts of all them stories.
Yeah. An author told me.
Previous to you writing the book, you had relapsed. But previously to that, you had been clean for a long time, correct? Because something happened in your life and all of your kids ended up moving in with you. And so you were clean for how long? I
was clean for 5 years, and then on New Year's Eve of like 2021 maybe, I was I took a glass of champagne, and I thought it was like non-alcoholic, and I'm stupid to think this. This is how the disease works. I took a drink and I didn't get drunk or anything, but I was like, oh, I beat myself up, and I didn't go to AA for a little while, and then my sponsor told me, he said, Josh, what was your motives to get drunk? And I said, no. He goes, well, then you could have kept your sobriety date, dude. But this come, a couple years later when I done messed up. And he's like, he said, don't overthink it. He said, if your motives were to take that drink and get a buzz, then you couldn't keep your sobriety date. But if that wasn't your motive, then you're good, man. And I was like, I should have called him. But like a year after that, I was playing golf, and my buddy was drinking beer, and he's like, you want a beer? And I was like, I don't think so. He's like, man, you just had a heroin problem, drink a beer. So I was like, all right. So I drank a beer or two, and nothing. I didn't get drunk or anything. And then another year went by, and I might have had a couple more drinks. And then my kids all moved out of my house, and I just went like crazy.
Yeah.
I went on a party binge for 6 months and ended up in rehab. And so here we are.
Sometimes though we have to have those things happen, like I know it sucks and yeah, you lost your sobriety date's different now, but I'm sure there's things that you've learned, you learned during that relapse. We always learn from things that I don't know, sometimes, and that's all we can do, I guess, is learn from them.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, when day one, I say like a flood of information come to me. I was reading Bill's story, and it's just like a flood of information. Everything I've learned come back to me all at once. And then I walked out of the building and I saw 5 crosses in the sky. And I was like, that's weird. And there were like cracks in the clouds. And the sunlight was peeking through the cracks, perfectly shaped as 5 crosses. And so I went in to get somebody, like, you got to take a picture of this. And then we came out, and it was like 10 seconds. And I came back out, and they were all gone, but one cloud. And I looked at him, I said, man, I'm not crazy. There were 5 crosses in the sky, And he looked at me, he goes, I guess that was just meant for you.
It was.
And
that
was
was
like,
a sign for you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
and I write about that in my book.
How has your life changed since writing this book? How has your book, have you had many sales? Like, is your book doing very well?
I only advertise on Facebook. So I make I think 1 month I made $200, and I make about $50 a month, meant for a phone bill. But I've gotten, somebody reached out and I got to read it out loud at a recovery rally. And then somebody in Canada, it's always strangers that clap for you more than people your whole life,
Sure.
And I hate that that's true, but it is. So it's going, I think, going to go good. Like, I got asked to be on a podcast and do a workshop for them online. And there's like Toronto Rehab or something that's called I can't even remember the name of the podcast, but they're on Spotify. So that's all happened in the last month. And so, and I have like this cult of old ladies who really like it, and they send me, Bible verses and stuff, and I send them Bible verses, and
yeah.
But they all live in like Utah or Southern California and stuff like that. So,
but it could change overnight. Like, you never know what could happen, if this, like you said, you only advertise on Facebook. If the right person sees this, like and it will happen, like when that's how our lives work. Like, it's all up to God when it's time, because I think like what you did is there's no way that can't blow up. I'm excited to be one of the first people to interview, because I truly think that you're going to do huge things. Like, I really believe that after I looked through your book earlier, because there's just no way it compares to nothing else that I've read as far as recovery, like text, And yeah. I've seen, like, I've done a couple features on different pathways and their text, and that they follow, not just the big book, but like, recovery dharma and the text that they follow and different things. And I've not seen anything that even compares to what you did here. Like, that's truly amazing.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'd like to read another one for you. It's kind of funny. It's one of my favorite funny ones, if you want me to.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we have time.
I got it's called Burnt Biscuits. And my buddy said my country really comes out in this one. So I said, what really burns my biscuits? When people toss around the phrase, you got to change your people, places, and things. Look, I get the sentiment. I really do. But let me break it down. If a person is properly armed with the truth about themselves, if they've done the work, peeled back the layers, and faced their demons, they can stand in the same streets they used to crawl through. They can walk through hell with gasoline drawers and not flinch, if their motives are clear and their spirit is aligned. But if I ain't done the internal work, if I just ran from the scene of the crime without ever searching for the real killer, then Alaska ain't going to save me. I'll find a dope fiend in a fur coat quicker than I can say I'm clean. I'll be in some frozen igloo sharing needles with a penguin, telling myself this is peace, this is better. But it's just the same hell in a different zip code. You want to know what my drug of choice was? Any and more. If it got me out of myself, numb the pain, or silence the noise, I was in. See, changing your zip code don't fix the damn thing if you're still the same broken soul. Because real freedom doesn't come from running. It comes from standing still long enough to face your truth and then walking forward with purpose, not panic.
I like that.
Yeah.
That just, I did change my people, places, and things, but I agree with that because after now I go back home, my mom and my brother still use, and I see them, and they could be around me, whatever, and it doesn't bother me at all. Like I'm in no way, I have no desire. Like I think that's one of the things, like when you're really serious and you're really done, like, and once you've done the work, like after when you're ready, you can be around anything. Like it's just, I don't even have the desire to use anymore. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that I don't get triggered and see things like, oh, whatever, but I don't ever just be like, oh, I want to get high. Like it's been a long time since I had a thought like that. Like, I don't know. Let me see. I'm looking at the notes. I took notes when we talked earlier, but we just had a really brief conversation.
Yeah.
So are your kids, are they super supportive of your book? Of your little journey?
Yeah. They know if their dad makes it, they make it. So
you gotta spoil them. Yeah.
Yeah. I got an adopted son. He was my stepson. But now he's mine. And he's 23, and then my daughter's 21, and my son's 19, 20, and my other youngest daughter's 17. But she moved in with the volleyball coach. She's really good at volleyball. So her senior year. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I really don't know. I really don't have nothing to say. I don't want to just sit on here and do a bunch of ums and ums. If you had, do you have anything else that you want to share at all? And if not, we'll wrap.
No, that's pretty much it. But yeah, here's my book though. If you like it, please get it.
Yeah, like I said, I'll include a link to his to the Amazon page where you can buy his book. I'll include it in the description to my podcast when I post the episode.
I can read the back of it if you want me to. Before we go.
For sure. We have time. Like I said, we have time. I just was going to wrap it up because I was running out of things to say.
Oh yeah, I'll read it as much as you want me to.
For sure.
The real war isn't in the streets; it's in the spirit. For too long, I lived in the prison of people pleasing. I shaped my life around what others thought of me. Sometimes even people who didn't care if I lived or died. I let their opinions become my truth. Their silence felt like shame. Their judgment became my chains. But I've come too far to hand over the pen of my story to someone who ain't writing a single word of my healing. I had to realize that God's opinion of me is the only one that counts. He says I'm forgiven. He says I'm chosen. He says I'm loved. And he didn't bring me through all that hell just so I could stay stuck in someone else's expectations. Today, I decided to follow God's voice, not the crowd's noise. I listen for peace, not popularity. I choose progress, not approval. I'm not being arrogant. I'm just done being a puppet. Help somebody. And that's in the back.
I made this little video and I will post it too with my little link. It's just a little thing that has the picture of your book on it, the cover, for anybody that wanted to see it.
Okay.
I don't know where it went. I can't find the video. Oh my gosh. I've been having so much problems with my tech lately.
Happens. I ain't very good at technical stuff.
Me neither. That's the problem too. Like and before this, like I'm just gonna upload it again. Before this, I was not like I'd never been live. I had never done anything like this at all. So I really don't know.
How long do you have? How long do you have?
I've been clean since I started my recovery journey in 2013 when I got pregnant, and then I relapsed in 2016 to about 2018. I've been clean since then, free of everything.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where are you from again?
I live in Harlan, Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was born in West Liberty, Morgan County.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty far down here. That's what I said. I did change my people, places, and things when. Oh, for some reason. Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay. That's why I can't find it. Give me 1 second. I moved down here. My family. I had a lot of family from down here in Kentucky. My dad and them were like originally from, and I moved down here several to get clean because my parents used, it was just a big mess up in my home. So I moved down here several times, like during my life, trying to clean. And then when I got pregnant, I just knew that, like I really didn't do a lot of recovery work at the first. Like I just kind of didn't get hot. I went to prison after I was clean. Like I'd been clean for a while, but I just went on the run. Like when I got pregnant, I just left the area that I lived in and came down here and just like hid out, And so eventually I ended up getting caught, and I had been clean for some time, but I ended up going to prison and everything after, after all that. So it played.
It's all fancy.
Yeah, it didn't fit right in the video. I don't know why it did that, but like I said, I'm still figuring stuff out. Everything has different formats, and especially when you go like TikTok, Facebook, all that, it's just everything is different. But I moved down here after I went to prison, and I ended up having my daughter in prison, and then I ended up moving down here finally, like, and staying, and that's just kind of, then eventually I did do some work on myself, but I don't know. Once I had my daughter, like I said, it just changed.
Yeah, that's good. This one guy, so I first got sober. I remember it was about 4 or 5 years in, and I was riding with this guy. He was a linebacker for Tennessee, and he has like 20 years at the time. And I see old Dope Fiend walking down the street. I'm like, man, look at that old Dope Fiend. And he, man, slammed the brakes, pulled over to the side of the road and said, look here, dude. I'm a dope fiend. You're a dope fiend. We just choose not to get high no more. Don't you ever forget that. And I was like, well, all right, yes, sir. Because he's a big dude. So,
yeah.
Yep, no problem, bro. And so that's when I started introducing myself. I'm like, I'm an old dope fiend. I don't get high no more. But I wrote one about it. We got time to keep going?
Yeah, for sure.
I call it Still Sick. They dress the wound of my people as though it was not serious. Peace, peace, they say, when there's no peace. Jeremiah 6:14. Turns out pretending I'm not sick is a damn good way to stay sick. The disease with this beast we call addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful. It don't take vacations. It don't do holidays. It don't care how long you've been clean. If I take a day off with no consequences, my brain twists it as it calls that success. And you know what success breeds in a sick mind like mine? Complacency. If one day didn't hurt, two won't either. And the next thing I know, I'm staring down the barrel of my disease again. Every relapse is worse and never better. That's a promise. So when I say I'm an old dope fiend that doesn't get high anymore, it ain't shame, it's survival. It's daily verbal armor. It's truth out loud. To the outside world, it might sound absurd, but to us, that's medicine. That's maintenance. Because we are not like normal men. We have tried easier, softer ways. We've run from pain, we numbed it, we buried it, and denied it. But the wound doesn't heal just because we say it's not there. The word says it plain in Jeremiah 21:7. You cannot heal a wound by saying it isn't there. Recovery begins with truth, and truth begins with admitting we're still sick, but we're doing the work to get better. So
I like that. I love that. I know when I was trying to come up with titles for my show, I was like, I had a couple of titles narrowed down in my top few that had junkie, the junkie, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't go with that because a lot of people don't like that. But I'm the same way. Like, that's how I feel. I was a junkie. I am still a junkie. Like, it's just because I'm not getting high, like, that doesn't change the things that I've done. And I have to remember that every single day. And so I full on agree with that. I love that.
Yeah. There's a guy, he's the guy who started the healing place, Dr. Burns Brady. And he has a video on YouTube, and I suggest anybody in recovery or anybody that has a family member in recovery watch his videos, the biosocial model. And he talks about, the disease concept. And like I did a lot of bad stuff. And so I couldn't get over it. And he told me, he said, it's not your fault because you're genetically predisposed. And he broke it down for me on why it's the disease. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. He goes, but now that you're here, the excuse is no longer valid. So do the work and get better, And man, it helped me get over that. He made my recovery possible because he was like, it's not your fault. But now it's going to be if you don't do something about it because you've been introduced to the solution. And I was like, wow, man. All right, then. But he used to give that same speech that's on there like his whole life. Like he didn't have to. He's a doctor. Yeah. He gave his life to people like us and volunteered his time. And anytime AA asked him to speak, he went, and he had a meeting that he never registered with AA because he would always say, if anybody would like to improve themselves, they can use the 12 steps to get better. You can just substitute alcohol with whatever your problem is, and you can become better because of these steps. It's a way to navigate through life.
Absolutely. I did my show last weekend was on the disease model of addiction and just all the facts and stigmas and myths behind that. We did a bunch of, I had another, I have a friend, she has a master's degree and she's a caseworker at Brightview. But she did a presentation and I did a presentation and because I really think that does help people to know that, we had the cards stacked against us. It was our choice to use drugs the first time, but a lot of people use drugs like socially, like smoke weed, drink beer, whatever, especially in college, young kids, and then once we did, then it was over, because our brains just literally rewire themselves to make it the most important thing. So I really think that helps people to know that, I know we hurt a lot of people, hurt their children and loved ones, but like it literally was not our fault. Like,
yeah, well, we have a natural deficiency of our dopamine and serotonin. If you're a true alcoholic and it's hereditary, and he talks about it in more detail than I can ever do him justice, and when we have the phenomenon of craving takes hold because most people get a drip of dopamine and serotonin normally, and we don't. So drugs make us get that drip that normal people seem to get on their own, and so when that happens, that's when the power of choice is taken from us. But I wrote a theory on that. I want to read it because I think it's my favorite one. I had a doctor actually message me about it. He said, I think you're right. But it's called Just a Theory. We who suffer from the disease of alcoholism live with a natural deficiency. Our brains don't produce enough dopamine and serotonin. Before we even pick up a drink or drug, we walk through life feeling restless, irritable, and discontented. That's our baseline. But when we put that first one in us, something different happens. We have an allergic reaction, not the kind that swells up our throat, but one that removes our ability to say no to the next one. The moment that substance hits, we finally feel the drip of those chemicals that normal people seem to get on their own. It feels like peace, like relief, like a breath we've been holding since childhood. But here's the twist. We get the same rush, that same chemical release when we help someone. That's our key. That's the key. That's our true purpose. Most of us have lost our way, maybe because of childhood trauma, maybe because of pain, abandonment, shame, whatever the case may be. But deep down, I believe this. We are God's chosen people. We are wired differently for a reason. We are made to be helpers, healers, light bringers. The only real relief we can find, the kind that lasts, comes not from a bottle or a bag, but from being of service, just like God intended. So maybe they shouldn't call it alcoholism. Maybe they should call it God's chosen. Hello, my name is Josh E., and I'm blessed to be one of God's chosen because I'm irritable and restless and discontented unless I'm helping someone else.
I love that. Who did you say had the thing, oh my God, when you were talking
Dr.
about?
Burns Brady?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, it is a biosocial model, and it's on YouTube. And anytime I come across, if I have a sponsee or anything, I'm like, watch that, and then call me back and tell me after you watch it, because it'll help you get over guilt, shame, and remorse. And anybody that says it's not a disease, well, they're just not educated. And
Right.
if you watch that video, you become educated on the dopamine and serotonins. We have a lack of it, and that's what causes us to not be able to stop, because we start getting it. And that's why we're irritable, restless, and discontented, because we're restless, because we're always needing to move, because that gives us dopamine. If we go, and then get tired, well, we get a dopamine drip, and until then we're irritable, and then we're discontented, and then we're restless again, before we even pick up a drink or drug. That's our baseline.
I wish I would have talked to you before I did my presentation last week, because I did not know that. I thought after we used it raised our baseline. That was the I wish I would have talked to you. But anyway, but I totally, anybody, I agree. Education, that's it. People, I don't know how they can argue with facts. Like people that say addiction's not a disease. There's scientific, medical, whatever facts, proving it time and time again. Like, and that it's genetic or hereditary, whatever. Like, I wholeheartedly believe that. I feel like,
well, if you watch this video, it'll be the biggest fact in your life. They can actually give a virus and put a gene in a mouse and make an alcoholic mouse.
Shit.
A mouse that craves alcohol. Then they can reverse it. So eventually they'll be able to do that to us, but right now they can't. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
But they can create an alcoholic mouse.
Wow.
He talks about that in that video. Yeah.
That's really cool. I know you read me a passage on the phone earlier about Bob Marley. Do you care to read that one? I really liked it.
Yeah, it's the first one I wrote, and I almost left it out because I couldn't find it, and then I finally found it. But if action speaks louder than words, then what do your actions say? What do my actions say about me? That's a tough question. If I'm being real, some of my past actions might have looked okay on the surface, but deep down they weren't so innocent. Most of the times my motives were self-seeking. If actions really do speak louder than words, then what do my actions say about me? That's a hard pill to swallow. Truth is, a lot of my past actions look good on the outside, but if you peeled them back, they were rotten underneath. My motives weren't clean most of the time. I was just out for me. That's human nature, right? Survival mode, fight or flight. A gazelle don't stop to see if his buddies made it when the lions attack. It just bolts. Maybe later he looks back, but in the moment, it's only about saving himself. That's me if I don't stay on guard. That's why I got to check myself every single day, my motives, my emotions, my heart. No days off. One of my favorite stories is about Bob Marley. The night before a peace rally, he was shot in an assassination attempt. 7 bullets. Most folks would have stayed down, called it quits, but not him. The very next day, he walked out and hit the stage. When they asked why, knowing he could be killed, he said, "The people who are trying to make this world a worse place aren't taking the day off. How can I?" He took that stage shouting lyrics like "One Love," "Fighting on arrival," and "Fighting for survival," and "Don't worry about a thing." A powerful demonstration on how not to take a day off. That right there cuts deep, because when I take a day off from God, from growth, from recovery, it ain't harmless. It's 1 step forward and 2 steps back. The second I let selfish motives slide in, I start patting myself on the back of what I've already done instead of pressing into where God's taken me. And the second I justify that first break, I know the next one will be easier. Before long, I'm not moving forward at all. I'm drifting. God already got the blessings lined up. The destination is waiting. The only thing blocking is me is choosing my will over his. So when the devil leans in and whispers, relax, you've done enough, take it easy, I hear Bob's words echo louder than the lies. How can I? Scripture is, let us not become weary in doing good, at the proper time we'll reap a harvest if we do not give up. Galatians 6:9.
I think that's so powerful right there. That was when you read that to me earlier, that really hit me, like, just because we can't take a day off. We can't let our guard down, not for 1 second, because the devil's sneaky, temptation sneaky, whatever you want to call it, like it slips in if you turn your back for 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I relapsed on my recovery way before I relapsed over a drink or a drug or a girl. I took a day off one day because I woke up late. And so I didn't do my morning ritual. And so when I got off work, I was just like, and all day, all long, I kept thinking, heroin's going to drop off out of the sky, and I'm going to end up getting high before I make it home. And I went home and nothing happened. And I just went to bed and I was like, well, that's weird. And so the next time I took 2 days off, nothing happened. And then I took 3. And then before I knew it, I wasn't doing this anymore. And I was making decisions based on my emotions again, which is so you can't do in recovery. We learn not to do that anymore. And as soon as emotions started making my decisions, I got further and further from God. And then by the time this pretty little girl that I know offered me a line, I had no defense. I was like, it sounded like a great idea to me. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, yeah, let's do that. All because I took a day off 4 years earlier.
Yep.
And
that's how it starts.
Yep. Nothing happens right away, but emotional decision making is a really big, especially for guys, man. It's so big not to do them, and we got to learn how not to make those decisions based on this temporary storm or temporary sunshine, because not all emotions are bad. It's what I did in the madness, and the madness took over. We got to learn not to make decisions based on emotions. Sure. And that's like the biggest thing I see. If I'm jealous of this guy, well, I'm not going to go do this. Or if I don't like this person, I'm not going to listen to this or that, or I love her, Paul, so I'm going to go run off out of rehab and, go move in with a girl I just met a month ago, or just emotions are not our friends. They're great to have, right? As long as we're not basing any of our decisions and making sure logic is driving our decisions and not emotions.
Sure. So I have a question I usually always ask my guests. If you could sit beside yourself in your darkest time, what would you say?
This too shall pass.
Nice.
That's a really tough to answer. I'll probably come up with a better question or answer when we get off here.
Yeah. I usually mean to tell people beforehand that I'm going to ask that. Like I said, this episode was kind of thrown together because I had a cancellation, but I think Josh froze, guys. Okay, Josh left, everybody. I'll serve as he froze up and he left. I'm going to go ahead and end the show. We was just kind of spinning our wheels here at the end anyways. He was just kind of trying to keep talking so we could make the show the right length, but I don't want to do that. We're just going to go ahead and end the show. Oh, what, baby? I love you too.
Huh? Mommy, what?
Okay, can we say bye? Say bye, everybody. Look over here. Say bye. We're 2 places. See? Say bye.
Bye.
I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my pen ready. Used to hold my so bad, my self-esteem damn bad. I gotta keep on chugging. Ran through everything in front of me, might smoke bed in heaven. Got a whole agenda,